Well, it is winter in the wine cellar. Okay, the guys were asking me to do a little talk about what's going on this time of year in the cellar, and a lot is the short answer, but there's a couple of really cool things I wanted to share. This is the time of year where we don't wait for spring cleaning. We clean year round, and the wines from last vintage, as well as the year before that, are all at some place along this big wheel of a journey that they take. And white wines work on a different journey than rosés that work on a different journey from reds. Just so happens today I'm working on both gorgeous big reds from the 2010 vintage, as well as some really gorgeous 2011 Pinots, and we're working on a Reserve Chardonnay program. So there's lots to see, and I think it's just kind of cool to see what January looks like in the wine cellar. So let's start with this. Here's what I'm doing. I'm tasting through barrels. As you can see, there's a lot of barrels in here. In fact, this isn't the end of it. There's a lot of barrels in here. So right now I've got about 150, give or take, 160 barrels I'm trying to make decisions on. When we do that, every barrel has its own unique number. For example, I was just taking a look at barrel 182 from the 2010 vintage. And this little watch glass has been on it for over a day. I'm watching to see what the potential is for this wine and how big it's going to be and what I need to do next. So let's go with that idea. I take a little sample from the wine barrel out of the bung, and then if I say, wow, this needs more wood or less wood or something else, then we start moving it around. So right behind you in the next room, you can see we're actually moving a lot of stuff around into different wood. Okay, so we made our decisions in the winery about what we wanted to do as far as taking the wine and its journey into the next flavor of the wood. And one of the decisions I've made right here is that I'm going to change this Malbec around from one of the older barrels that it's in. So I've seen how the fruit's developing without the impact of wood, and we're going to move it over into a different barrel that has a different profile. So what this is called the Bulldog Pump. Notice how it's got the little nitrogen line here? See how we're hooked up? Nico's got me all hooked up over here to a nitrogen tank. We're going to make sure that this fine wine doesn't touch air. So what has happened over here in this barrel is we've taken, again, the nitrogen tank. I've put nitrogen to displace the oxygen that's actually in this barrel right now. Then we dropped in the racking wand. All of this has gas in the lines, again, no air. And now, Nico and I are about to turn on the tank, start pushing the wine gently from this barrel to that barrel, using just the power of the nitrogen to slowly move it along. We'll watch here in the racking wand's window, and we'll make sure that it's all beautiful, clear, clean, pretty wine. And if there's any little sediments or things on the floor of the barrel, the moment that Nico and I see it not run the way we want it to, we're done. And perfectly clean and clear with no touching air. And then as an added touch when we rack, you see what Antonio's got over here. This is a little sparging stone. And you see how it is really just this microfine mesh. Again, with the nitrogen, and this is all in sanitation solution, we're going to drop that gently into the wine after we've moved it into this nice new barrel. And we're going to make sure that any dissolved oxygen that could have possibly gotten in, not likely, but possible, we will go ahead then, give it a little finishing touch, hit it with a bung, and we're ready to go back for a long winter's rest. So, ready, Nico? Fire it up. He's done about 150 of these this week, so we're ready to rack. Okay, so now that you've seen decision making with tasting the wines in the cellar, and then we make the movement called racking, and there's a lot of technique in keeping the wine safe and making it perfect when we rack. The next thing we do is, once you empty a barrel, it's all about getting it clean. So this is where this comes into play. Okay, I'm cheating, but I'll pull this out for 2 seconds. That's steam. Steaming is an amazing technique, along with lots of other things that we do for sanitation to keep our fine wines tasting perfect. time's up. Ready to go, Veneto. There you go. Nice and careful. Those are really hot. So you see what we did? We pulled out the steam ones. We're putting in a bung, and right now this barrel is actually creating a vacuum, and it's pulling some of the wine that was down deep into the staves of the wood, and it's pulling it out, and in a couple of minutes here we'll be ready to just dump her out. So we're ready to go. And then I'll repeat this process one more time with a little bit different timing on both the vacuum as well as the steam, and that's the key to making sure it's perfectly clean. And there you go, we'll be ready for rinsing. Okay. So what we're doing is we're pulling these bungs, and now we're going to roll this over, and it's time to see how the first extraction went. This is my little work list. There we go. Oh man, there she goes. Well, that's old Chardonnay that was deep in the barrel, but it actually smells quite fresh and clean. It's not bad, but obviously you can see there's a little bit of sediment in here. It looks a little bit more like a pitcher of beer right now than a glass of Chardonnay, and that's good. That's why we steam these barrels nice and clean. So here we go. Let's look at the other one. Here she goes. Notice how we've only got 2,000 mils. This is less than half a gallon. Well, this is basically half a gallon out of 2 barrels. That means these barrels are really clean. They've been well extracted. That was the first vacuum. This is not that much, and this is really, really good to get this out of the wood, so then when it's being stored in the cellar, it won't be getting kind of vinegary and old. So it's a wonderful technique for us making sure that the barrels are cellared well and ready for the next wine to soak in and get all the clean flavors from the oak. So now that the barrel has had its steam, which is sanitizing it and getting it up to a really hot temperature, we pull the vacuum, we dump a little bit of extra stuff out of the barrel, and now it's ready for a rinse. It's kind of like washing your hair and rinsing your hair with a shampoo. So what Hector's got here is a barrel washer. And this little ingenious device rolls around like crazy and actually pushes the water all into every nook and cranny in the barrel, and we use it for a very focused amount of time. So yeah, let's rock and roll. Let's put her in. So we are now going to rinse the barrel perfectly clean for a few moments, and then we're going to let it dry, and then we'll gas it and cork it. Okay, so steam, little warm water rinse, after the extractions, then a nice cool water rinse, cool everything down, get the wood nice and fresh and clean. Now, let's see how we did. Fresh as a daisy. She's ready to rock. All we have to do is let it dry upside down, and then we're going to go ahead and put some sulfur gas, store it in the nice cool barrel room, and we'll be ready to go next time.